Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. Cases, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
On into the Cam Show, Rogue Media Sports Network. Happy Wednesday to you. We are live on YouTube as we are every weekday. and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. So check it out. Everything in the world of Boston sports. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke behind the glass, keeping us on the air as he does 5 days a week so that you don't have to do the old sports talk radio dial. We don't want you to do that. Today, we're doing something a little bit different, though. We're starting with Patriots rather than Bruins, which is usually what we do. Starting with Patriots today because it was cut down day yesterday, and it just goes to highlight how bad the last couple of years of drafting has been, specifically this or last year, 2024, and 2 years before that in 2022. So we're going to do another deep dive video today. I'm loving doing that. I did it with the Bruins first round in 2015. Last week, we did it with the Masataka Yoshida deal after letting Kyle Schwarber walk. We did it with the Red Sox-Dodgers trade in 2012. So if you missed any of those, check out those videos. They're all on the YouTube channel, kind of doing a little butterfly effect, so to speak, of how that changed these franchises for better or for worse after these deals, drafts, whatever it may be. Today, we look at the Patriots and one of Bill Belichick's last drafts and how, quite honestly, it killed any momentum that the Patriots had. And that draft is where you place the flag of the Patriots dynasty well and truly ending entirely. That's coming up here on the Cam Show. That's where we start. And we start where we start, if I may. Let's take a trip back to a glorious time in 2022. It might be tough to remember, but the Patriots really had it going in early 2022. The vibes high through the roof. They're coming off a Pro Bowl rookie season from Mac Jones. They have found the Brady replacement. They made the playoffs. It didn't go so hot, but we have our future. Going into that 22 draft, Patriots fans knew if this was going to be any kind of renaissance, was actually going to happen, they were going to need to get some key pieces from this very draft. You had exactly what you wanted. You had good veterans, guys like Matthew Judon, Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry, all over the roster. You had your franchise quarterback on a rookie deal. Sound familiar? It's the greatest luxury in football. Having your guy, your franchise quarterback, cheap. And instead of getting the pieces for another dynasty, they got the worst Bill Belichick draft of all time. I know people love to talk about Bill's drafting record, and it's really not even close to as bad as people think. In fact, I saw someone on Twitter today tweeting out all the first-team All-Pros that Bill Belichick drafted. And it was like, wow, in 20 years, he only drafted 8 first-team All-Pros. I'm like, yeah, that's a really tough thing to do. First-team All-Pros, like there's 22 a year, right? Okay. Bill Belichick, non-special teams drafted players that would go on to be first-team All-Pros as Patriots, which I think is fair. Richard Seymour, Matt Light, Asante Samuel, Vince Wilfork, Logan Mankins, Gerard Mayo, Rob Gronkowski. Belichick basically drafted one a year for 5 years and then went 14 years without, except for the fact that 2 were in 01, 1 was in 03, 1 was in 04, 1 was in 05, 1 was in 08, and Gronkowski was in 2010. Those are great players. Find any other coach in the league right now who's drafted that many first-team All-Pros in that short a span. And oh yeah, not for nothing, but when you do have the greatest player in the history of football, you don't necessarily need to go out and draft all-pro guys every year for 15 years. Julian Edelman did not make an all-pro team. Devin McCourty did not make an all-pro team. Dante Hightower did not make an all-pro team. I think those guys ended up doing pretty well for you just because they didn't draft a first-team all-pro. Like, I think the Belichick drafts are blown way out of proportion, man. When you look at the seeds of the dynasty teams, first or second, there's a lot of Belichick draft picks in there. Seymour, Wilfork. You go up to, obviously, Gronkowski, McCourty, Hightower, Patrick Chung. And then some of the great players that the other teams didn't realize their talent, and Belichick made them into Pro Bowls, all-pro players. Mike Vrabel, special teamer with the Steelers. Wes Welker, 4 straight All-Pros after being a special teamer with the Dolphins. So this is my quick spiel about being like, you're wrong for the most part. Those of you Patriots fans who are like, Belichick was never good at drafting. And definitely those of you who are not Patriots fans who follow the NFL, because that's been the narrative. But he's not bad at drafting. All that to set up for what I'm about to give you in 2022. The absolute disaster class of Bill Belichick's career. And kind of kick later, there's only one player from that draft class that is still on the team. Congratulations, Marcus Jones. Can I get a round of applause for Marcus Jones? The only Patriot that was drafted in 2022 that is still a New England Patriot. Without any further ado, let's take a real deep dive into how this became the beginning of the end of the Patriots aura. Because in the first round, all the Belichick constants were on display. They traded back and they got a lineman. Like, that's so classic Patriots. But this wasn't Nate Solder. No, this was strange. Literally. You see what I did there? They picked a guard out of Chattanooga in the first round, 29th overall. Cole Strange was projected to go anywhere from the mid-40s to the mid-60s. And you remember, Sean McVay was literally laughing at the pick on the Rams draft night special, admitting to their fans he did research on Cole Strange to see if he'd be there at LA's pick at 105. Instead, Bill drafted him 29th overall. And actually, the early returns on Cole Strange were pretty good. But flash forward to 2024, and Cole Strange is going through a position change to center just to see if he can crack the lineup for the worst offensive line in all of football. Maybe the worst offensive line in the last 10 years. And he sucked at that too. He was cut yesterday, meaning all the frat stars who rock the strange 69 jerseys are going to be flocking to Foxborough and the Pro Shop for the half-price sale. Cole Strange, 29th overall. It doesn't get much better. The second round broke my heart in this draft. It really did. I was pleading with the Patriots to take one of the star players from my alma mater, Baylor. Baylor had a great season in 2021, highlighted by one of the best defenses in all of college football, littered with draft-eligible players. I was dying for the Patriots to take either Jaywood Petrie or Terrell Bernard. Instead, they looked at Baylor's offense, or more specifically, they looked at the 40 times at the combine, and they picked Tyquan Thornton over George Pickens after trading up to get him. I was hoping Thornton wouldn't fall into that nasty luck Bill has with drafting receivers in the second round. Like, he's straight out of central casting for that. Obvious deficiencies, red flags, route tree problem, very skinny. How physical could he be as a blocker? All of that. I was hoping he wouldn't fall into that Patriots second round trap for wide receivers. I was really hoping he wouldn't turn into another Bethel Johnson. You remember Bethel came from A&M, another school in Texas, and was a lot like Tyquan. Skinny, but fast as lightning, man. If he could just get open, he can beat any safety clean in this league. Problem is, there's more to the game than that. 3 years later, I wish he turned into Bethel Johnson. I really did. In 28 games over 3 seasons with the Patriots, he amassed a grand total of 39 catches on 76 targets for 128 total yards and 2 touchdowns in 3 years, going from 13 games played to 9 to 6. Just wasting away right in front of us for a guy they traded up to get in the second round. I was a sucker. I had the jersey. I was really hoping that would be good. That's your deep ball threat for Mac Jones. by the way. That was it. Of course, at the time, we didn't know that was an oxymoron. There's no such thing as a deep threat for Mac Jones, unless it's college football and the guy's winning the Heisman Trophy, Devontae. But that's what you got. You had Devontae Smith for him in college. You gave him Tyquan Thornton in the pros. Just bad. He just made the Chiefs, by the way. Just made the roster, Tyquan Thornton. Probably going to play in the Super Bowl this year. How about the next pick? How about let's go to the 4th round here. Next pick after Marcus Jones, I should say. How about Jack Jones? Remember him? God, I loved Jack Jones. Bit of an off-the-field problem in college, a couple of them. So the Pats got him, 4th round, take a waiver on him. Will be the right place for him. We've seen this plenty of times before, right? Will be the right place for him. And for a little while, it looked great. Looked like such a bargain, man. Had a great first year. And in his career, he's still playing. He has 7 picks, 4 touchdowns. That's a playmaker, man. Including a couple of pick sixes for the Patriots. Remember, this one was over Alan Lazard and picking it off and taking it back to the house against the Packers. Picked off Aaron Rodgers, took him clean to the cleaners. It was all good, man. It was all good. Until he brought a loaded handgun into the airport. That is not advised. Not advised. And Jack Jones is still bouncing around, but who would have thunk it? The guy who had all these problems off the field in college continued to have them in the pros, playing for the Patriots. He's lucky that Netflix lawyer got him off, hopefully just in the court of law. And then after that, they said, all right, we need some more. We need some more skill positions, because then they took not 1, but 2 running backs to bolster their skill positions, ready to phase out Damian Harris and find support for the new franchise, Ramondre Stevenson. They're going to be a tough run between the tackles kind of team. Then again, I don't think the combined rushing total of 152 yards from Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong in their Patriots careers was exactly what they had in mind. I don't think so. And they tried with those guys for years to see if they could become anything for this running attack. They didn't. And just to add to the excellent Cole Strange pick, they decided to go back down the well for some more offensive linemen, because it's already worked so far with that great Strange pick. Drafted 2 more of them in the late rounds. Andrew Stuber from Michigan, the tackle, and Chasen Hines, the guard from LSU. And they were consistent. You got to give them that. They both spent 2022 on the IR and were cut before the 2023 season. Neither one played a regular season game for the New England Patriots. Neither. And I've buried the lead a little bit, because in the middle of this draft was where it got really interesting for the Patriots, when they drafted Western Kentucky quarterback Bailey Zappi in the 5th round. Who remembers Zappy Hour? Where were you for that? One Bears defensive back falls down, and Bailey Zappi is the savior. The next year and a half would be filled with Mac Jones versus Bailey Zappi debates and our fresh wounds of truly some of the darkest days in the history of this once proud franchise, which has had plenty of dark days. Plenty. But once you're debating Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones to be your starting quarterback in the National Football League, you're done. It's over. You've lost it. Once you're debating Bailey Zappi versus Mac Jones to see who will be Tom Brady's replacement, it's done. There's no turning back. It's all over for you, and it's a long way from getting better. And truly, to me, that's what signifies the downfall in this draft. And maybe that's a little harsh on Bailey Zappi, because it's not like the guy was coming in ready to be the starter. But Cole Strange, you draft way off the board in the 1st round. You trade up for a guy who's just fast in Tyquan Thornton. That's it. You draft a couple of other depth linemen. You draft a couple of depth running backs. Draft them, not sign them off the street. You draft them, and you didn't hit on one of those 4 guys. And you're hoping you do hit on 2 of them, because then you're taking a reach at corner and hoping that this kid who was a bit of a head case in college would make up for it in the pros and grow up a little bit. He didn't do that. And yet in the middle of that is Bailey Zappi. Because you get to a point in the next year where the first-round quarterback you drafted was so bad and his growth was stunted so horribly by having Matt Patricia and Joe Judge coach him that you're thinking, well, maybe we can win games in the NFL. Maybe we could make the playoffs if Bailey Zappi is our quarterback. That's where it all gets worse, man. Like that's where I have to sink in my chair a little bit. Because it did get worse. You went from irrelevant to bottom of the barrel. 8 wins in the last 2 seasons. We used to do that in 2 months. And I get it's not going to be Brady again. But it's horrible. And it all starts from this disaster of a draft. This, really the beginning of the end for the Patriots, obviously, is Brady leaving. But it's tough to remember now. They were really close to keeping something going. Not maybe a dynasty, but to keep the contending going. 2 years after Brady left, 1 season removed, you had your guy. You were in the playoffs. And you had your quarterback, at least you thought. And you had plenty of opportunity to build momentum off that. And instead, you did this. 10 draft picks. 9 of them no longer on the team. Half of them not even in the league anymore. 7 offensive players who ended up being more offensive than offensive. In fact, you drafted 7 offensive players in that draft, and the best one is Marcus Jones, the cornerback. It's brutal. Just absolutely brutal. Take him to the woodshed kind of draft. It's the kind that gets a legendary coach fired. And that's pretty much what happened. It all stems from that. And sorry to crush your hope, Patriots fans, but the 2024 draft isn't much better. And that was a year and a half ago. It's not much better after that. Drake May, obviously, 3rd overall. That's fine. But other than that, Caden Wallace and Javon Baker are the only ones that are possibly going to be suiting up week 1. And I say possibly because they're on the roster right now. They made final cutdowns, but the Patriots are going to go to the waiver wire here. And Javon Baker looking decent in special teams. I don't know if that's enough to keep him on the team. Caden Wallace, maybe, because their offensive line's still pretty bad. Jalen Polk, 2nd round, IR. Did no guarantee to make the team anyway. Layden Robinson, done. Joe Milton, gone. Jaheim Bell, wasted. Marcellus Dial, IR. Drake May, that's it. Of guys you can actually count on this year. Hopefully Caden Wallace. But Javon Baker, he ain't making any people in the wheelchair stand up anytime soon. That ship has sailed. 23 was okay. Just, I guess, because people are wondering. Christian Gonzalez, Keon White, Marte Mapu. We'll see if he survives the waiver wire. Keishon Butte, Pop Douglas. It's not a bad draft. It's really not. Considering the one before it and the one after it. Did have Chad Ryland and City So in that draft, though, 23. But it all starts from the 2022 draft. I know it was nice and fun for years for NFL analysts to talk about how bad a drafter Bill Belichick was. In reality, he wasn't. But in 22, yeah, that was as bad as it got. That could be the worst Patriots draft ever, let alone the worst Bill Belichick draft ever. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, and we're talking nothing but Boston sports live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. So was this the worst draft Belichick ever had? Was this the beginning of the end? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week. Check out the other videos on the channel talking Patriots, Bruins, Red Sox, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports, so you don't have to touch that sports talk radio dial. Coming up next, we're going to revisit our greatest college basketball announcer calls of all time, because we're going to bring that segment back on tomorrow's show. So that's going to be me next.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Introducing Muck Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Visit roguemediamusic.com for more music.
Are you ready to take control of your health? At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. Say goodbye to long waits and office visits. Check your health on your own terms with 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today and free yourself from traditional medicine. That's the number 4uhealth.com.
And now, back to our show.
To the show, the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. Zach Burke is alongside myself, Cam Stewart, where we are doing our summer series, the greatest calls in sports history. Zach is feeling it right now.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the
Crazy, I can
camera.
hear him.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. Good to see Pete back in the building. But
Yeah.
we have done this. So Zach, we did college football. We actually did it with Pete. I'll get Pete in on another one because he is an ESPN play-by-play broadcaster. So I should get him in on some of these other ones. I know he's going to be kind of pissy that I didn't put him in on a college basketball one. I know that's what he likes. So I don't know about you, Zach, but I find basketball in general to be the toughest one to find like really great calls.
I was kind of with you there because some of these, as I was going back and when you brought it up to me last night, at first I did what I do with football and I let my mind just kind of think of what plays like resonate with me and what ones do I remember. And then I like to go back and just kind of like watch compilations to be like, oh, I forgot about that one. Or, you know, the thing that I found with basketball for some reason, at least me more so than football, was that some of the moments, while they were big moments and great moments, the call itself isn't as good.
Correct.
Like, I think back to the NC State, like Houston game, like a tremendous finish to it, but the call is like, oh, it's a dunk. And they went like,
it was, Wittenberg. Oh, it's a long way.
It's nothing like, I'm not trying to take away from it, but it doesn't kind of like, I guess basketball to me felt like it needed a little bit more of the spectacle at times with some of it, of like letting it breathe.
Yeah.
Doesn't work the same way. So I found like some clips seemed to speak to me more than others did, but yeah, it was a little bit tougher.
And like you kind of need really like a buzzer beater to do it the way you would in other sports. Like touchdown, there's a celebration, right? Baseball, home run, you're just running the bases. But here it's like, okay, you score and then you're right back. Like, here it is. You know, you could have one of the great moments in NCAA history, but if you hit the bucket with 3 seconds left instead of 0, then you don't get the emotional call.
No,
so,
And I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's right.
But I was gonna say, like, that's one of the things is that I have. So of my 2 clips, and I'm not gonna give too much away, but it kind of lends to one of that. Of it's not a buzzer beater, and so it was one of those where the emotion you got was for what happened, and then there's another call at the end that kind of like cements it that I think other people do, but I went with the one before it because of it. Also, I just wanted to ask to you on this, is looking at it is, did you find yourself going? I think I found myself reliving my glory days of when I was the biggest of my college basketball fandom, which was right as I was getting out of high school into like my early years of college. So both of my calls are within like from 06 to 010. And like, to me, that is the sweet spot. I can tell you it's before that, actually. I just did that just as a random number, but I didn't want to give them away fully, but I'm just saying, like, it, to me, the calls, I think, fit me more with like just how much I was into college basketball at the time too.
Gotcha. I respect that. Weirdly, mine are both outside. One was before I was born, which I know will shock you that I'm pulling something from before I was even born.
That was me last time. All right.
And the other, I mean, I guess the other one's right in my wheelhouse still. My biggest was like middle school. That's when I was so into, like, I didn't miss a Duke game. I watched every single game they played. I knew the score of all of them. I put out the scores on Facebook. Nobody cared. I was so into it all. And not that I wasn't in high school or college, but I was like living and dying with
this
Duke
is still
with the ball in the fucking hoop.
This is still post JJ though, right?
Yes, I mean JJ's kind of what got me into it. JJ Redick's my favorite.
Because I will be honest, as a college basketball fan, then the JJ Redick and those Duke teams were some of my most hated Duke teams.
I'm sure.
Dude,
I'm sure.
They were just so good.
Yeah. All right, let's do yours. Let's get your first one in here.
So I went back and
you've
forth.
Been teasing.
I have. I'm going to go with the one that's not as over the top for the first one, because I went back and forth, and I think that as I went and gave that whole diatribe of how I felt like some of these basketball moments needed that extra pizzazz to it, I'm going to save the one with the most for the end. What I am going to do is instead focus on one from 2008, and it's a national championship game between
Mario Chalmers.
I cut it off. I just
love have arms to shoot a basketball in the fourth quarter.
I just love Jim Nance's easy at the end, because I have it here. I'll just let it play. It's 22 seconds.
Kansas has made only 2 threes on the night. They must make one here to extend the game. Collins driving, almost lost the handle. Chalmers for the tie. Got it for 2 seconds. Unbelievable. Dozier at midcourt for the championship. No, we're going to overtime in San Antonio.
I just love that call.
That's good.
We're going to overtime in San Antonio. He let it. After I talk about, there's a way to talk, let it set up, and still describe it all perfectly. And Chalmers, out of everybody, as he said, I think it's part of the situation. They only hit 2 threes. I think
that's a really great part of it. Is he knows clearly he's reading it during the free throws in the biggest moment of his broadcast season at that point. Not to prop up Jim Nance too much, but he's like, okay. And nowadays, with 9 seconds left, they'd be like, well, they're going to foul. But back then, when men were men and basketball was basketball, you'd say, yeah, they need a 3 here because you need 3 points to get to overtime. You're not playing 2 possessions in 10 seconds. Yeah, that's great. That's great anticipation of, look, they've only hit 2 all night. They got to do it here.
And there's nobody like, I went and I watched a lot of compilations then to figure this out. And like Jim Nance is a guy who's just perfect at that too.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing. And he has
Michaels. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I teased a little bit when I said 2010. I love the end of the Butler, like where he's able to get the shot off at half court. And he's like, oh, and it almost went in. Like, and it's just
that is sneaky good because like he's clearly riding with the emotion. So that I should have put that one in here, to be honest. It's not like one of the greatest Christmas calls, but it's one of those that I said about the Boise State one a couple weeks ago, last week, where you're all feeling it in real time. And I don't mind when a broadcaster does that, even though it's got the shelf life of about a half a second. And that's what he says. Almost went in. It almost went in. Yeah, and Duke is the king of the dance. 2010.
It's him coming to like the realization with everybody else watching. It's like he's with you, and then it just didn't happen, but he still takes you. Oh, it's great. Yeah, no, I love Jim.
Oh, it almost went in. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good first one. And what a friggin' moment that was, too.
Yeah.
was a boring bracket, though. That was 4-1
very
teams
much
in the
so.
Final Four. The
Very
last time
much
it happened before this year. Okay, I'm going to take you back to around roughly that same time, but we're going to go ESPN regular season. How about that? This is from, I want to say 2011. 11 because there's a player that will give it away. But you'll know that it was 2011, December of 2011 going into the 2011-2012 season. This one is known for me and my friends more for the meme that comes out of it. But it is also a great call by a couple of guys.
Jones. Watford for the win. Yes! Yes!
That look, yeah, that could look on Crean's face.
That Tom Crean look. Man, we used to give that to each other all the time. And I actually, last year covering Baylor in the NCAA tournament, they were in Memphis and Tom Crean was one of the commentators. I literally walked by him one day outside the arena and I just had to tell him, I was like, man, I know you people like talk about this to you a lot, but my friends and I in high school, we used to do that all the time, that Tom Crean look. But that is good Dickie V. And there's not much of that anymore. If we're being totally honest, I'm kind of like, it's kind of tired. But unbelievable.
I love it. So.
And then can't believe it is just great. That's the emotion in that plays.
No, I absolutely love it. There was it's funny because.
Oh, you didn't see it in the clip, by the way, but I was referencing later on in the video, you see Anthony Davis. That's how you know.
Yeah, I was about to say it's Kentucky. He's on Kentucky at the time, right?
Yeah. Who won that game 75-70 if you watch the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's true.
On ESPN.
It's kind of hard to tell with so much, maroon running on the but that's the thing is there are some great regular season calls, and I did find some coming. I think there was one. I want to say it might have been from the 80s. It was a North Carolina game against Oklahoma or somebody. Maybe it was later. I don't know. There's some random calls that I came across, but for me, I hated that. But it just felt like the bigger the stage, like the grander the call. And so both of mine are from tournament games. My other one is from 2006, and I thought about going George Mason for a little bit. I thought
by George, the dream is alive.
I did. That was in serious contention. And then I just remember us talking a little bit last week on the football one of how he might have been hanging on to that one. He's like, if George Mason wins, I'm dropping a by George line. Yeah, and that's fine.
There is one of those I was kind of looking for, which is it was again Nance, and Nance at his douchiest. But when UConn beat Duke in '99, it was a huge upset in the championship game. It was UConn's first title. Duke was 37-1 going into that game. Elton Brand, Player of the Year, and I can't find it anywhere, but there's some point. I think it's closing out the broadcast itself, not the game. But Jim Nantz says something like, you can't, you can, UConn. And it's like so dumb. But I really wanted to find it. I couldn't find it.
Oh, that's great. The other one I thought about too that I gave serious attention to was, and I'm trying to remember, I feel like it was a Butler game. But it was about the slipper still fits is another just great
Zaga.
line. It's Zaga. Sorry.
Which is also 99, actually.
Is it the 99? Okay.
Yeah, it's Gus.
For some reason, I thought it was 2000.
But slipper still fits. It might have been 2000.
But I did go.
It could be Florida.
Yeah, I did go. It was.
In 2000, Florida made it to the Final Four.
That because they beat, they had the close call against Butler with the Mike Miller. Yeah.
That's
yeah. So Mike Miller and those Florida teams. Anyway, shit. Where was I going with this? I got lost. Anyway, no. It's on me. So I looked at all those and I thought about those and considered those. I went with another Gonzaga one instead. And it wasn't even the more recent one where it was the Suggs 3 where he like goes and stands on the table afterwards.
Yes, that's a good one.
Which might be Jim Nantz too. I think
it is Jim Nantz. Yep. The perfect season is on go.
I went with a guy who is very familiar with where we broadcast here from the Alico building because he worked here for a while before he went off to go, not like at the Alico, but in the city here before he went off. Yeah. to become a great broadcaster himself. And I mentioned him briefly for a different reason with football, but that is one Gus Johnson. And no, I want to take you back to 2006.
I didn't know Waco, by the way. I didn't know
Channel 25. Yeah.
Wow. When, like 30 years ago? 40 years ago?
Yeah, probably like back before J-Mo was the voice of the Bears. But still, I was a kid, but yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ro
lived there for 10 years. I didn't know that.
Robert Flores, Gus Johnson.
I knew about Roflo.
It's just
and
it's
the guy,
a hotbed.
Jemai Webster, who's the Red Sox sideline reporter.
That's
to bring
true.
it back to Boston Sports. He worked at 25. Interesting. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Let's
anyway, so there's another thing that adds to it in this, and it was a season that this UCLA team that I'll just explain the game for a bit that adds to it.
Yeah.
UCLA at the end of the first quarter with about 3:18 left is down by 17 to Gonzaga. They're down at halftime by 13 in a Sweet 16 game that everybody thinks it's just kind of a given that, all right, Gonzaga, if they don't, let off the gas, they should have this game. And UCLA ends up with one of the greatest comebacks. And I was not cheering for either of these teams because this UCLA team knocked out Michigan State in the first round by like 2 points. But still, it leads to, I love just Gus Johnson's call here of just setting up and the sad face of Adam Morrison.
They throw it to Morrison. He holds on. Well, you don't want to foul Morrison. You make him get it over half court. You know you got to foul.
And a steal! Farmer! Inside! The freshman up! Oh, and they go in front! Rivio! Last chance to dance! Unbelievable! Oh, what a game! Unbelievable! What a game! UCLA! Unbelievable! Are you kidding me? After being down by 17, Heartbreak City.
I love the Heartbreak City.
The dance.
Oh, it's so good. Like it's so
By the way,
good.
great pass by Farmar.
Yes.
It's kind of an inch perfect pass. Laker
Corey
legend
Brewer.
Jordan Farmar.
I hated that UCLA team, but still, they're solid there. Yeah.
They didn't win it all, so
Nah, it's fine. Oh, they lost here. This was just the season of teams I hated because it's Joakim Noah's Florida team.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But there's another call then later after they win it all where Gus loses it even more that I think people also remember. But just the Heartbreak City with the camera zooming in on Morris, it just encapsulates it so.
Morrison crying before the game's even over.
Yes.
Game's not even over yet.
Yeah. Well, I've heard Pete tell some stories, so I don't know. This kind of seems all fitting for the guy.
Adam Morrison just cries.
I should say not just Pete. I don't want it to feel like I've made the rounds on some basketball podcasts where I get to hear some stories about Adam Morrison when he was with the Bobcats. So
co-player of the year that year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. Who was the other one? Hold on.
We've already talked about him.
Was it in 06? Was it Noah? Brewer? Who in 06?
Shooter, ACC.
JJ was gone by 06, though.
06, senior year.
Was it? No.
Yeah. JJ Ryan.
Pete had it. I was in disbelief.
Pete's a college basketball guy. He's a junkie, man. He gets it. Okay, last one. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be surprised with what team we're going with, with what we're going with next. I'm gonna actually put it in the present mode here, if that's okay, Zach, so we can react to this one
sure.
Live, real time. Let's do it.
Okay, I'm Christian Laettner. 1992, Duke, Kentucky. Kentucky's up by 1. Christian's got the ball. 2 seconds left. He shoots a beautiful turnaround jumper.
Off the glass!
Gets his own rebound. Loose ball! Laettner goes straight to the hole. Get them! Duke wins game of the century! And that's the way it happened.
That's great, man. I know that doesn't count, but that's great.
No, I love that.
Off the glass.
They do a really good job of just showcasing how much of a menace he was down there for that 10 seconds to get that game-winning shot off.
Yeah, who could forget that? I guess I should do the actual one. I should do the actual one. I'm going with the Duke radio call, which I used to perform in middle school for my friends. I never ended up charging.
I don't know if I've heard the radio call, actually.
This was like my vaudeville show. Just a lot less racist. Here it is.
Early up the floor with Laettner. They throw it to the left of the floor. Laettner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores!
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And just knowing how much America hated to see that. Oh, doctor. Yeah, I used to do that like word for word, man, all the time.
Well, I don't want to.
Game of the century, the actual game of the century. That's probably still the greatest college basketball game ever.
Okay. No,
the moment, the context, both shots at the end. Although I will say, people don't remember this, but Leitner, the year before, had a buzzer beater against UConn in the Sweet 16 that was arguably tougher. He was like, he caught it on the side. He was like falling away to the side rather than straight on. I think he shoots it like off 1 foot. It's kind of a crazy shot. I mean, can I just for a second, I know I've talked about him on the show before, but like the ball's on Christian Leitner, man. He won't quite get remembered the way he should by other generations because he was, I guess, a bust in the NBA. He played a long time in the NBA, but was he an effective player? Not really. He was an all-star one time. He had a decent NBA career. But I mean, one of the 10 greatest college basketball players ever. His record and his clutchness. I mean, 4 Final Fours, 2 national championships. The guy was a machine. And this was his crowning moment.
No, absolutely. It's, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of gone, at least here recently, it feels like, are those players that end up being just like great college players that, you know, I mean, well, there are players that don't translate to the league, obviously, but gone are the days of where there's a guy that like, that's his program for like 3-4 years and he's dominant there. And then for some reason,
brings people to the gym
exactly
year after year.
I mean, when was the last time we had an athlete like that? I think now, and I get it, it's a completely different animal that the game's evolved to, of where if you have the skills, you make the jump. Like there's no,
right.
I don't know.
I would say though, like kind of, I think what you're getting to is like, we don't have like a box office draw anymore. Like Leitner, we just talked about, is one of the all-time greats, but we're talking about JJ Redick, man. There's no more polarizing player in college basketball than JJ Redick. He's the best player in basketball on the best and most hated program in college basketball. And like, that was a guy worth the price of admission. And he was for 3 years, you know. Adam Morrison, to a lesser degree, he played at Gonzaga, but same thing. He was a great player for 4 years.
But is it just as simple as that? Is it's the length there? Like, I
think it is, man. I do. Like, I just think of the last couple like national championship teams, and I'm like, who were the box office guys? Like, you had some great players, don't get me wrong. But, like, Donovan Clingan, good player. Was he a guy? Walter Clayton, heck of a player. Was in his 4th year. I think only his 1st or 2nd at Florida. But, like, it wasn't a guy who was you knew was coming back, or, like, you know what I mean? He wasn't there for 2 to 3 seasons with the continuity. Even that Baylor team of 2021, it was a great team. It was one of the great teams of this century. And they did have some guys that stayed 2 years, 3 years. But I'm talking about like the guy who makes a couple of All-American teams. It doesn't happen anymore.
No.
It's just not the same way. And I don't know, maybe this is me just growing away from the game myself. It could absolutely be it. But it doesn't feel like there's that kind of buzz around college basketball anymore, because the rivalries just aren't quite the same, because the players don't carry over. And it's just, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not the same.
No, I would completely agree with you there. Like I know, running the risk of Abe Simpson, old man, you know, yelling at clouds meme, but still it seems to, you bring up those rivalries with it changing an ever-changing face. Guys aren't there long enough, besides like, you know, oh, we play North Carolina twice a year. It's not like, and I know we're talking about those 90s, but with, you know, those teams of where Grant Hill and Christian Leitner were there for their entire careers, or if we move forward of, like, you know, you got these where it was the same guys playing each other twice a year for 3 years, 4 years. And that rivalry built not only just because it was between the teams, but it came between the players then too.
Right.
And that is gone.
Because like overall, it's just, I do think it just kind of boils down to the college basketball season, all told, is fairly short in terms of you getting to know these players. Like the best players in college basketball year in, year out now are guys who stay for 1 year. And I know, again, old man yelling at cloud, but it's like, I think back to like the 90s And you could go into a college basketball season knowing about Grant Hill and Glenn Robinson and all these, you would know that these, because they played here the last 2 years, and he's coming back for another. And it's easier to follow the sport that way. And it's just not like that anymore. Again, what are you going to do? I think the NBA should have got rid of that rule a long time ago, the 1 year rule. And
I think on another thing we can talk about it. I know
2 or 3.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm going to add this last point and then I'll get out because I know we're close on time. But just the more thinking about it makes me think. I think honestly, this switch, and maybe this is just my opinion, but the more of the one and dones, honestly, kind of showed the inadequacies in certain NBA front offices of being able to project talent more. Like I think of them not being able to have 3-4 years of data showed you the front offices and the teams that have been bad at player progression for a while.
Because now we see these guys who are top 10 recruits who do stay for 1 year and probably wouldn't have done that if that wasn't the rule. And then they get picked 22nd and they don't really have an NBA career. I think, again, we kind of gotten off the topic, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, like I know some coaches have suggested, I don't understand why we can't do that. Why we can't make it like the NFL. Maybe it's 2 years rather than 3 years. But say, you know what? We just got enough of this crap. There's enough talent evaluation going around in high school basketball that you should be able to know whether you're about to make the jump. And it wasn't like 20 guys were doing it every year.
No,
it was a handful.
And the ones that got picked for the most part were the Kevin Garnetts, were the LeBron Jameses, were the Jermaine O'Neal, who had careers that would warrant them getting picked there. Everybody wants to bring up Sebastian Telfair, but those are they're there because they happen minimally, for the most part. Some people took chances, but you're right. You should be able to see that talent in the air. Well, Gilbert Arenas did a lot of problems there too, but
yeah, and he's the somewhere in between. Gilbert Arenas is the guy that makes it somewhere in between for these guys. Anyway, that's the factor in there. Anyway, Zach. Thank you for hopping on. We will do some more next week of the greatest calls in sports. Thank you guys for making this part of the routine today. We're live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Talking Boston sports, and emphasis maybe sometimes on the sports, as we just did here. We will see you tomorrow on another edition of a little ditty that we like to call The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Tusains, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.